it to them and say, you mounted. So what I posit is that if the soldiers that had come to undertake the Python dance attack were locals who spoke the local lingo to the youths and said, hey, you boys, you don't know that government is angry with this thing you're doing, and flogged them, the consequences would have been different. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, in a Zoom call that we had a couple of weeks ago, one of the other diplomatic issues is the idea of the United States imposing its will and kind of robbing Nigeria of its precious metals. And so that's one of the issues that we're going to have to get the other Africans on board too. Unlike Congress, those of us who've served in the executive branch have to actually make the choir sing, and we have to make them sing together. And so that's really one of the challenges that we have. And so let me just now turn to Dr. Sylvester Onya, and I'm going to give him the microphone and say, what's again?
Dr. Onya, it's kind of like should be easy if there is no hidden agenda whatsoever. All this wahala, if you remove the personal greed of the political players in Nigeria, which comes from all over Nigeria, which they don't have tribe, they don't have religion, they don't have even political differences or whatever. So they are all united up there, if you take a look at things. But at the same time, behind all of that are also those who have weaponized their own agenda, either hidden behind religion or hidden behind a tribe. They've also managed to weaponize that within the system enough that all these contrary agendas against the supposed one country continue to run after the other in such a way that we have this chaos that you have today. If the Arewans says they want Sharia, they know how to do it. They can utilize the population they have in that space that is theirs and implement a Sharia or Sharia law there. If the people in the middle belt believes that they want to go with a socialist sort of like a law, so be it. If the Westerner says, oh, we want to go with welfareist law, I'm just giving these random names, right? Meaning people should be able to do whatever they want to do if that is how they want to exist without one imposing or superimposing on the other. Before now, we never had this issue. People coexisted. I don't know, maybe we were just too young to understand. I don't know. But never in the history of Nigeria have we actually witnessed people waging war on innocent people because of their religion or their tribe. We have never seen it this much. And I have never read it anywhere. The government of the country, right, is protecting some dangerous armed terrorists. Like they are endangered species that needed to be protected. The Fulani terrorists. I have never read that in any history. Even Bokuwari got the medal for ending the Metatarsin in 1984, 85 or so. Yeah, the Metatarsin were just like these religious fanatics too, like Dijalaji Shekau, Yusuf and Muhammad Yusuf and the rest of them. That was what the Metatarsin was all about, but they didn't have machine guns. They didn't have the RPG and all that. Sure you get, but they were a menace, like they were so everywhere. So Bokuwari crushed them. They gave him a medal for that. So what the hell happened? The Nigerian government is now in the position negotiating with terrorists that are hitting the headline every day, kidnapping people, ransacking villages. This is not cows and farmers anymore. So I have never seen anything like this, where government to be on the side of these killers and be explaining to us Islamophobia Fulani phobia. But if I get phobia for Fulani terrorists, is that my fault? Do I need to actually witness them slaughter people than the witnesses that we have seen already, like the wreckages or the wrecks they've caused already? Before I begin to fear them. So it is the job of government to separate the criminals, their sponsors, from the other people that shared tribe or religion with them. But we have a situation whereby some people are bragging, Sharia will rule Nigeria. Nigeria will be all this talk. Do you guys actually really sit back and feel like, listen, I don't know where you come from in Nigeria. When you say these things like, Sharia will rule everywhere in Nigeria, whether you like it or not. Igbos will never be president of Nigeria. Igbos will never lead Nigeria. And all this talk, right? I'm like, where do you come from inside that contraption? Exactly, right? That you believe that you can be shouting one Nigeria on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you are telling us that it is either our land or our life. If we don't give our lands, they will take our lives. This Fulani terrorist. Or, the Igbos will never ever be president of Nigeria. If the Igbos want to be, I'm like, hey, you can't be saying all of this in the same breath. It is either you have one Nigeria where you can actually say, whether you like it or not, everybody will have the similar chance. Must have it. If you don't have that mindset, the idea of one Nigeria is already defeated. There is no one Nigeria. Yeah. If you say that without me parting with my land, my life will remain at risk. You know what I mean? Like they could take it anytime. And at the same time, you are telling me that and this is happening to me because I am one Nigeria. That's why a Fulani will come from Futa Gallon and Futa Sorrow and Futa Sadness. And if you understand the wrecks these guys are actually causing, right? It's not just Nigeria. They are wrecking it like they are pushing this jihadism. The jihadists, they are pushing this terrorism up to the northern part of Benin Republic. They just witnessed a coup. Things are already so deep, while others in the mainland are trying to convince us that, there is a way for peace. If you want peace, just let them have a portion of your land here to this place. Okay, let's call it livestock city. That's what Tinubu call it, livestock village. So they will just be there. They won't bother you. They will just stay here. When did the Fulani started staying in one place? Like, how could the government make that their own policy to say, let us put them here. Once you put them here, they won't bother you again. And when did they start actually staying in a place, as the few illegal places they occupied in the forest have become the den of kidnapping, where they take their victims to, lock them up, maltreat them, and even kill them? So what is the government trying to legitimize? They are trying to legitimize their terrorism industry. I'm telling us that that's going to give us peace. That's going to be peaceful. That's how we're going to have peace. Like, how? How is that actually like sensible thing? By any means, right? Anyway, like I said, if we all come together and say, this is what we want for this place, if this is what we want for that place, before you can say you have one Nigeria, okay? But in a situation where we have terrorists who are killing Nigerians, Muslims, Christians, and, those who are not of any of these religions, right? So they are Nigerians being slaughtered. And people want to make it look like a call to end them is like an invitation and an indirect attack on Islam. Here is another political Sharia. The political Sharians, those ones who are always threatening you, telling you that if you disagree with this, their political Sharia, you are considered as an infidel. It's because you are ignorant. You don't understand anything. It's political Sharia. The political Sharia is the one that will be telling you that what you are witnessing in northern Nigeria is actually so perfect. Northern Nigeria used to actually be a very beautiful, peaceful place. And I'm not kidding. Like, very peaceful. And at the same time, in their own way, they were prosperous too. Depends on what you called probably, prosperity. They're contented from the time immemorial. Then these Olori Burukus introduced Sharia. And just like that, the numbers of out-of-school children started increasing, never reduced, never decreased anymore, increasing and increasing. And all these fanatic preachers, hiding under this their political Sharia, they started building different ideologies that for the past 2 decades now, or for the past decade rather, you have seen now, in fact, actually 2 decades, from 2003. For 2 decades, for over 2 decades now, right? The Sharia in the northern Nigeria has led to more poverty, more crime, and more violence. So if you are from the southern part of Nigeria and you're like, no, we don't want that, your Sharia, then you start seeing those who will tell you that, oh, Islam is a peaceful religion, Sharia is a peaceful this, and that. I say, no, but I don't want Sharia. If you disagree, then we'll kill you. All those ones who are threatening you on social media, telling you that whether you like it or not, whether all those ones, those are the politically sponsored political Sharians. Their job is to ensure that they milk every form of a division that is pretty much like defeats every logic, is to milk it, weaponize it, like these ones now, who are saying that, how do you say Sharia doesn't affect non-Muslims? But every now and then, you have those who are non-Muslims, Christians, have either been killed for blasphemy or have been jailed or sentenced to death for blasphemy. These are people whose your Sharia should not affect. They don't have any goddamn thing to do with your Sharia. They are Nigerians inside Nigeria. So therefore, you told them that Sharia doesn't affect them. But here you have all these fanatics going about and threatening people to burn people to death. So you get, and when they finally killed that lady, that young woman, Deborah, more than 45 Islamic lawyers appeared for these murderers, the ones arrested. Yeah, Islamic lawyers from northern Nigeria, they came to defend these murderers. So why can't they just, if people say we don't want this Sharia, your Sharia is just for the poor. You have criminals as your leaders, bunch of criminals, that if there is a true Sharia, most of them will probably be dead now. But their Sharia is for the poor people. It is political Sharia. Therefore, keep it in the northern Nigeria. But no, they want it to probably keep on spreading to plateau states. Sharia must go to Benue. Taraba must get Sharia. Yobe must get Sharia. And then Southwest Nigeria must get Sharia. Lagos must have Sharia. Sharia must enter this. Sharia must enter that. And we are like, why are you so desperate about putting your Sharia here? Oh, Sharia is for Muslim. It doesn't affect non-Muslims. Tell that to Deborah. She Deborah. Deborah je Kubura. Is Deborah and Kubura the same thing? But yet, the young lady was killed. Eunice was beheaded. Akaluka was beheaded in Kano. There's another lady that was also killed simply because she was preaching as a Christian. So you get all this, right? Keep your Sharia where it is, where the sun never rises. But no, they are back and threatening us.
Nation. With the benefit of hindsight, this does not come as a surprise. Past American governments had once announced that Nigeria would break by 2015. When that did not happen, after 10 years, they are now taking deliberate steps to make it happen. It seems like the plot they are working on is to instigate a religious crisis in the country by provoking the Muslim population. Recently, the US President, Donald Trump, made an accusation that there was a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, even confirming that churches were being burned and Christians killed virtually every day. He then started rolling out conditions to be met by the Nigerian government and sanctions to be considered on government, individuals and groups. He went on to list Nigeria yet again as a country of special concern. Among the conditions he rolled out was that the Sharia system was to be abolished in the northern states and blasphemy laws be scrapped. Then, last week, a group of Nigerians living in the US, led by one Dr. Ebenezer Obadere, senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, visited the US Congress masquerading as so-called experts on Nigerian affairs to request the Congress to make the US government demand that the Nigerian government put pressure on the northern states to abolish the Sharia system and the Hizbah. At this juncture, we would like to make the following observations. One, even the British colonialists who conquered our land by force of arms could not altogether get rid of the Sharia system. Therefore, no foreign power can do it now, after more than 60 years of independence. Two, the Sharia system is an integral part of our constitution, which, in recognition of everybody's right to religious freedom, provided for three legal systems, namely the British common law, the Sharia personal law, and the customary law. Three, moreover, the Constitution allowed for concurrent powers that gives states the power to make laws affecting any of the concurrent list, of which enacting Sharia law is a part of. 4. Unless the Constitution of our country and its democratic federalism is going to be trampled on, the plot to force the federal government to pressure state governments to abolish the Sharia system and Hizbah is not wise. 5. The Sharia system has never been imposed on any non-Muslims in Nigeria. 6. The blasphemy law is not a religious law, but a law enacted by respective state assemblies in order to preserve peace and harmony. 7. The Sharia system has no connection whatsoever with the different types of insecurity issues happening in Nigeria. 8. The Hizbah institution has never engaged in any type of unrest. It is an unarmed organization concerned only with the enforcement of Sharia moral laws within the ambit of the national law. Therefore, on behalf of all the 40 Islamic organizations that form the Zamfara State Muslims League, we hereby state the following. 1. We in Zamfara State are more than 99% Muslims. We were the first to implement the Sharia system in 1999. We want all and sundry to know that we are comfortable with the system and we will never allow it to be tampered with. 2. The request of Dr. Obadere is not based on any expertise, but on biasness and Islamophobia. 3. The US has no business meddling in the international affairs of our country, or act as a custodian of a certain religion, or start a new crusade against Islam, with Nigeria as its first victim. 4. We emphatically affirm that Muslims in Nigeria will not stand by and look while a foreign power dismantles the Sharia system just to make some anti-Islamic Christians happy. We know that America has been sponsoring Zionist terrorism in Palestine and the genocide of Muslims. We are also ready to pay the price the Palestinians are paying if America should decide to come to Nigeria to dismantle Sharia. 5. We are calling on President Bola Tinubu to tread carefully. He should remember that he rose to power on the goodwill of Sharia-loving Muslim population of this country. 6. We also call on Muslim representatives in the Senate and the House of Representatives never to allow themselves to be used for the achievement of crooked objectives detrimental to the interests of those they represent. 7. We call on our governors and members of the respective houses of assemblies not to relent or give in on this matter. They must stand firm and ensure our freedoms in a sovereign Nigeria. We are also using this medium to appeal to our northern governors especially the Sharia compliant states, to intensify efforts in protecting, safeguarding, and promoting the Sharia legal system in their respective states. 8. It is time for our traditional rulers to stand up and talk. The labor of our leaders past shall never be in vain. 9. Our ulama and imams must stand up and talk. Imams must convey our message of resistance on all pulpits. Sharia implementation is our religious right, which we are entitled to. We will never